I'm Sandy.
And I'm Jed, and we are currently exploring the beautiful Olympic Peninsula located in Washington State.
In this video, we're exploring Lake Quinault, the Quinault Rainforest, and some massive trees.
So get your exploring pants on and let's check it out. The sights and sounds of the Pacific Northwest are being uploaded using NOMAD INTERNET.
If you need your own NOMAD Internet, be sure to check out the description and get you some.
Good morning and welcome to the Olympic Peninsula in Washington State.
So today we are starting off our day at the Lake Quinault area. So we're hoping to travel a loop that goes all the way around the lake. And our first stop today is at the Quinault Rainforest Nature Trail. And we're really excited to explore this little piece of rainforest.
I'm pretty stoked. Just from pulling in the parking lot, it already looks amazing.
Yeah, you can already see all the moss on the trees and everything. So let's check it out.
The nature trail is a half-mile long. It's a pretty easy walk. It's not really such a big hike that you need to carry a backpack and water and everything. We've read this is a really good place to start your Quinault Rainforest loop, kind of get educated on the trees, flora, and fauna that you're going to see on the loop.
So this is actually a sign that tells you a little bit about what a temperate rainforest is. So they have a mild, moist climate that's largely affected by the ocean. So we're we're really close to the ocean here. And then this, they usually get over 100 inches of rain and moisture throughout the year. And did you know that 66% of the world's temperate rainforests are right here in the Pacific Northwest?
That's impressive.
It is. It's really cool.
Some of the world's largest trees actually reside here on the Olympic Peninsula. They have western hemlock, Douglas fir, western red cedar, and the Sitka spruce. And besides trees, there's supposedly a ton of wildlife here. You'll see a lot of rivers around here. They have river otters, they have the Olympic torrent salamander, which I'm pretty excited for, ospreys, cutthroat trout, and squirrels. We've seen squirrels. We've seen a lot of squirrels. Don't feed the squirrels. These massive trees can live for hundreds of years, but even in death, they still give a lot of life to the rainforest. There are tons of animals that depend on them, such as bugs and woodpeckers and squirrels and chipmunks and Sasquatch. Sasquatch likes the dead trees. Lots of mosquitoes out here.
There's so many mosquitoes out here. What we did find is really, really cool. The mosquitoes are not cool, but this guy is cool. So there is this massive old tree stump, and this other tree is growing out of the top of it and around it. It almost looks like it's just sitting there on top of it, but it just goes to show you how after even how something dies, that the forest kind of uses it to grow and become a better, not necessarily better tree, but a bigger tree.
Speaking of massive dead trees, there's one behind us. These things are really important. They fertilize the forest floor and kind of help usher in the new generation of growth here. Also, there's a ton of mushrooms in this area. I love mushrooms. Just be careful which ones you eat. Know before you put them in here.
There are flying squirrels here. We haven't seen one. I really, really hope we do. But anyway, they live up in the canopy of the trees, and then whenever they want to come down and eat or hunt or whatever, they can kind of glide down. Wouldn't that be cool to see?
That's definitely a nice little hike. Highly recommend it when you come through this area. It gives you kind of expectations on what to see along the way. Speaking of which, we've had a really hard time finding information about this scenic drive. Next up, we're going to head down to the ranger station and see if we can't get a little bit more information.
Yeah, so the biggest concern is that we hear it's a narrow road. It turns into gravel at some point as it goes into the national park more. So we just want to make sure that the van isn't too big, and we figured stopping at the ranger station is probably the best place to ask. We hear it's either a really wide single lane road or kind of really narrow double lane road, so whatever that means. We just want to make sure we can fit through and we're not too tall or anything like that.
Okay, so we're at the ranger station and it's closed. But they do kind of have a self-service information.
Doesn't really tell us if we can take the van back there though.
So we're going to try to find a park ranger and see if we can't get this sorted. Well, good news. We found a ranger, talked to him, and said that we should have no problem taking the van on the loop. So
let's go loop it.
Let's get loopy.
Let's do all that loopy stuff. I almost said a bad word. So our first stop after the ranger station, we are stopping at the world's largest Sitka spruce tree.
It's massive. It's really massive.
So it's got a circumference, or is it a diameter? Circumference of 59 feet. Sorry, you didn't see me. So the circumference of 59 feet is 191 feet tall. What else do we know about this thing? It's 1,000 years old.
That's an old tree.
And so apparently there are 6 giant trees that live here in the Quinault Valley, and this is one of them. The other ones include, let's see, what are they? I think Jed might have already told you this earlier, but like a western red cedar, a Douglas fir, a mountain hemlock, yellow cedar, and a western hemlock. This is the home of massive trees, all different kinds. Maybe we'll find more.
We were just a couple miles in and we run across this gorgeous waterfall.
Actually, what happened was we saw a bunch of cars pulled over to the side, and Jed's like, "What's here, Sandy?" And I was like, "I have no idea." So we pulled over and boom, amazing waterfall. So I believe its name is Merriman Falls by all accounts that we could see on the map, but there are no signs here. And this place is absolutely beautiful. This is something like, I don't know, where would you see something like this? Like Washington State, the Pacific Northwest? I don't know. But it's gorgeous. It's so beautiful.
As you can see, the road has turned into a dirt and gravel road. It's not too bad at all. We were driving along and we spotted this guy right here. Not exactly sure the name of this waterfall, but it is absolutely gorgeous. We've made it a little bit past Quinault Lake, and now we're kind of running along the Sitka River. This drive has been absolutely beautiful so far. Run into a little bit of traffic, but it's not too bad. We are here on a Friday, but it's been enjoyable so far. So I scrambled up the hill a little bit. There seems to be some trails here. I'm not sure if they're official. They are really rooty and rocky, but definitely worth coming up here and checking out. Just, you have this emerald green old growth with the waterfall. This is as good as it gets. So we've made a little stop. We saw a sign for the Kestner Homestead. Come to find out, there was a Bavarian family who moved there in the 1940s. It's preserved now as kind of one of the early examples of what a homestead would look like in this area. They had a barn, they had a smokehouse, and they had a beautiful backyard.
We've finished driving the Quinault Loop all the way around Lake Quinault and even back into Olympic National Park a bit. This is one of the lesser visited areas of the Olympic National Park, and that's kind of sad because it's actually really beautiful. Mosquitoes.
Mosquitoes
so
are bad here.
They're so bad. So a lot of people, when they come out here, they visit the Hoh Rainforest, which is part of what we're going to be doing in a future video. So you will get to see that as well. But there are a lot of rainforest here in the Quinault area as well. And it's absolutely beautiful. So some people say they actually prefer coming here over the Hoh for the fact that the Hoh Rainforest is very popular, very busy, lots of tourists. And this out here, like if you drive this loop, we saw people, but overall, like there was hardly anyone around, so it was really great.
Good morning. So we left the Quinault Loop yesterday. Just as it started pouring rain, we were going to get some nice, beautiful shots of the lake, but unfortunately the entire lake was just totally socked in by fog. It was nuts, and it happened so quickly. Last night we stayed at Allen's Bar Campground, which is a place where this guy pretty much has a piece of property along a river here, and he charges $5 a night. It's an absolutely gorgeous spot. It's a little crowded, but it's still beautiful, especially this time of year when it's really hard to find a spot up here. But today we're actually going to backtrack a little bit because there's a tree we want you to see. I know we've shown you a lot of trees, but trust me, this one's worth it. Ta-da! Driven about 20 minutes south, and we are currently at Kalaloch Beach.
and campground. So if you park right where the entrance of the campground is, it's very, very close to the Tree of Life.
I have no idea why they call it the Tree of Life. Maybe because it's hanging on for dear life?
Maybe, but it looks like a Tree of Life, where, you know, like when you see a depiction of the Tree of Life and the roots and stuff, you can see the roots. So
this tree is a Sitka spruce, and it's famous for basically kind of floating in midair.
They say that there's a groundwater source that kind of comes through where the tree is and continuously washes out any dirt from building up in that area, so the roots are consistently exposed, and it actually looks like the tree is kind of just like gripping on to each side of the cliff that it's on.
We are out here on a Saturday, so it is a little crowded. The beach itself is absolutely beautiful. There's driftwood and all kinds of stuff around. I mean, really foggy this morning. It looks like it's starting to clear up a little bit, but it's still a beautiful beach to come to.
Yeah, beautiful beach, beautiful tree. There's nothing posted, but from what we read is you really shouldn't go up underneath there because they don't, you know, this thing could potentially, I guess, fall at any time.
It's possible.
But it's been really hanging on for years and years and years, and it seems to be doing okay today, so.
But I'd hate to be that one person, when the tree decides to fall.
Use caution while you're exploring the tree.
That's a pretty unique way to go, though, I guess.
I guess so.
Now, depending on what direction you come from, there's going to be a sign that says Big Cedar. And if you go down this little Forest Service road, it's got little potholes, nothing too gnarly. We made it just fine in the van. You will come to a small little trail and this ginormous cedar tree. Now, this cedar tree was kind of ravaged by storms in 2016, I'm sorry. I brought along my fact checker, you know.
Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm really, really wrong, so don't depend on me. I try.
But I think this tree is just as impressive as the Tree of Life.
And the big spruce. Maybe even more so, because you can see the portion of this that fell, but if you look at what still remains, this thing is ginormous.
The trail does go back a little ways, not exactly sure how far back it goes.
Or where.
Signal.
We didn't come plan for that.
Yeah, internet is spotty out here, so trying to do research at the last second is kind of, if you want to come see this, maybe look up some facts ahead of time, like we should have.
The point is, if you're driving by here, it's worth driving down the road and just coming to see it.
It's absolutely beautiful, and there's a bunch of cedars and spruces in here that are also massive, and they're just beautiful, and it's quiet, except for us.
Yeah, we're the only ones making noise. And then people.
The video may be over, but our adventures in the Pacific Northwest are going to continue.
So be sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, subscribe, hit the notifications bell, and we'll see you in the next video. And until then, stay wonderful.
Call it a day.